The White House says progress is being made toward ending the Russia-Ukraine war, and President Trump's new tariffs on nearly every U.S. trading partner have gone into effect. Good morning. I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. The Kremlin says that Russian President Vladimir Putin has agreed to meet in coming days with President Trump. The White House has not confirmed a meeting, but yesterday President Trump said it was a good prospect of a get-together with the Russian leader and with the leader of Ukraine. NPR's Franco Ordonez reports this follows a trip by Trump's special envoy to Russia.
President Trump says that his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, has had what he called a highly productive meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
That road was long and continues to be long, but there's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon.
But he did not give specifics for a future meeting, and he was careful to temper expectations, declining, for example, to call this a breakthrough.
I've been disappointed before with this one.
Trump is threatening Russia with heavy sanctions if Moscow doesn't agree to a peace deal with Ukraine in the coming days. Trump has been increasingly frustrated with Putin for not ending the war sooner. Franco Ordonez, NPR News.
Trump's fresh tariffs on dozens of foreign nations took effect overnight. He's also threatening to impose 100% tariffs on computer chips with certain exceptions.
We'll be putting a tariff on of approximately 100% on chips and semiconductors. But if you're building in the United States of America, there's no charge, even though you're building and you're not producing yet in terms of the big numbers of jobs.
President Trump says he has told his administration to start work immediately on a new census. Census data is used to draw up congressional districts. Trump says his census won't count people who are illegally in the country. The U.S. Constitution says congressional representation is decided based on the, quote, whole number of persons in each state. Federal immigration agents conducted a fresh raid in Los Angeles yesterday. They jumped out of a rental truck in the parking lot of a Home Depot. Libby Rainey from LAist reports 16 people were detained.
Federal officials called it Operation Trojan Horse. Video shows men in U.S. Border Patrol vests emerging from the back of a Penske box truck and running into the parking lot of a Home Depot. The operation comes after weeks of aggressive immigration enforcement across the LA area led a judge to issue a temporary restraining order against indiscriminate sweeps. The ACLU says the action at the Home Depot may have violated that order. Jorge Mario Cabrera with the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles agreed.
The video and witness testimonies indicate that there was no mention of a warrant. For us, that is called racial profiling.
The Department of Homeland Security responded by saying that its action was targeted. For NPR News, I'm Libby Rainey in Los Angeles.
Environmental groups are asking a federal judge to stop operations at an immigration detention facility in the Florida Everglades. In a hearing yesterday, the groups said the facility may be hurting some endangered species, such as the Florida panther. NPR's Greg Allen has more.
There are somewhere between 120 and 230 panthers remaining in Florida. The Immigration Detention Center, dubbed Alligator Alcatraz by federal and state officials, is in the heart of the panther's habitat. Randy Couts, who helped write a panther recovery plan for the state, said the bright lights and increased human presence will push panthers out of an area that encompasses about 2,000 acres. Cross-examined by a lawyer for the state, Couts agreed that the current panther habitat is stable and that the area affected is a small part of the 3 million acres that comprise their total habitat. Even so, Couts said, the habitat loss will contribute to the harm of the panther population. Greg Allen, NPR News, Miami.
The U.S. Army says all 5 soldiers shot yesterday at Fort Stewart, Georgia, are expected to recover from their injuries. From Georgia Public Broadcasting, Peter Biello has more.
The Army says the victims were co-workers of the shooter, who was identified as 28-year-old Automated Logistics Sergeant Cornelius Radford. At a press conference, Brigadier General John Lubis thanked local law enforcement and emergency services for their quick action.
I would also like to thank the brave soldiers who immediately intervened and subdued the shooter. These soldiers, without a doubt, prevented further casualties.
Army investigators are still looking into a possible motive for the shooting, but Lubis says there is no evidence to suggest that the attack was motivated by extremist beliefs. The Army's primary focus, he says, is to care for the injured soldiers and their families. For NPR News, I'm Peter Biello in Atlanta.
Authorities have arrested a 22-year-old active duty soldier at Fort Bliss, Texas. The FBI says Taylor Adam Lee is accused of passing information to Russia. The information apparently involved details about a model of the Abrams battle tank. The FBI alleges that, in return, Lee wanted to obtain Russian citizenship. The U.S. has provided Abrams tanks to assist in Ukraine's war with Russia. A trailblazer in Latin music has died. Pianist, composer, and band leader Eddie Palmieri died yesterday at his New Jersey home after a long illness. That's according to a family statement on his official Facebook page. As NPR's Felix Contreras reports, the 88-year-old Palmieri was widely respected for infusing progressive jazz harmonies into the music known as salsa.
Eddie Palmieri connected the dots between two eras of Afro-Caribbean dance music in New York, between the old-school big bands of musicians like Tito Puente and Machito, to a sound of his own that was influenced by the cutting-edge jazz of John Coltrane and Miles Davis. He was born in New York City's Spanish Harlem in 1936, and after forming his first band, La Perfecta, in 1961, Palmieri purposely created tension within his music, then delivered a musical release that eventually challenged and stretched the genres of Latin jazz and salsa with a sound that was as impressive musically as it was danceable. Felix Contreras, NPR News.
The animated film K-Pop Demon Hunters has been a hit since it came out in June. Now its soundtrack has launched two fictional bands into the Billboard Top 10. NPR's Stephen Thompson has more.
The Netflix movie tells the story of a girl group called Huntrix, whose members moonlight as demon hunters. In the film, they do battle with a demon boy band called Saja Boys, who steal the souls of the public with the help of songs such as Your Idol. This week, Huntrix and Saja Boys are doing battle in the Billboard Top 10. Your Idol climbs to number 9, while Huntrix's signature song Golden holds at number 2. Their songs are performed by real-life K-pop singers, but none of them have had a U.S. chart run like they're experiencing right now. In all, they land 7 songs in this week's Top 40. Stephen Thompson, NPR News.
And I'm Corva Coleman, NPR News from Washington.